Okay. The system, when you're powering it up, the one thing you want to do is you want to power up anything that's amplified last. And then when you're powering down, you want to power down the powered sub and the powered monitor first.
Okay.
That minimizes the pops. But this is where all your stuff's going to be hooked up for the most part. I would even tell you, if you can, get extension cords and even plug the stage monitor into the back if you can.
Okay.
So once you plug this up or turn this on, everything's already engaged. Mixer's on, it all comes on, and then you go ahead and you flip the switch on your sub in the back here. That'll power it up. You'll see the red power. Mm-hmm. You'll notice this is for your main speakers, and this is how much bass. When you do karaoke, you're probably going to bring this down to here.
Right.
You'll gauge it.
Yeah.
You know,
but then DJ will be pumping it up.
Oh, definitely pumping it up when you do DJ. Then you have, like I said, you have two XLRs. These are coming out of this processor.
Okay.
That's the last piece that's going to go into this. And then you have your speaker cables.
Okay. Yep.
Where they're just twist and lock.
Nice.
So once you got that in there, now you're taking these speaker cables and you're going to your main, the back of your main speakers. I mentioned earlier that, like right now it's not doing it, but sometimes one of these, the bar will disappear.
Oh, okay.
So that's, I mean, it's brand new, but that's why I gave you the discount on it too.
So that doesn't affect anything. That's just display.
Yeah, it's a voltage meter to show how much voltage there is.
Okay.
Then you have your lights.
Okay.
Underneath, and of course that's a dimmer. When you have this system plugged up, if you're not using these, make sure this is turned off.
Okay.
Because when this has juice and this is on, even if the whole system's down, these will still light up. But the good thing is, all they are is Christmas bulbs, and you just unscrew this, take the Christmas bulb out, and replace it with another one.
Easy enough.
Below this is your dual wireless microphone. You'll see that it's set up on 2 different channels automatically.
Okay.
Then you have your EQ. When we first set it up, we actually had it here. But in order to pump it for DJ, I was able to... Now you notice that this isn't the best electricity in here, but still the system's really quiet considering how powerful it is.
Yeah.
When you go to different places, you might run into places where you hear a lot of buzzing and stuff, but that has to do with their electricity. So pick up some ground lift plugs, just to have around, and try to plug up as much as you can right into this. Okay. Because that creates a single ground loop.
Gotcha.
When you plug in powered speakers and different things to different outlets, you're creating more than one loop. So that might increase the chances of, you know, it having an issue. Below this is your processor. Because you have a powered sub, you don't have the separate control because there's more than one type of processor. So this is a balanced processor, which is even better. Okay. This handles your left channel and your right channel. Basically what it is, you want to make sure this is always in. Okay. This basically will show you what it sounds like with and without this engaged. So you'll definitely hear the difference between the two. And this is basically how much bass you put in. Okay. And so forth. Like, you have the low contour. I would keep the low contour down. This could be a little bit up. You can mess with it. Right. And then your EQ, you mess with your EQ. You, like I said, if you want more power, you could bring it up and so forth, and then start EQing it within the room. So if you're testing, I would bring all these bands down and then just start bringing each one up and just listening to, in fact, I would set the monitor up where you're actually listening to that monitor, and you're, for the room, you're listening to each frequency and you're saying, oh yeah, that sounds good. Then you start to hear one frequency get distorted, so you back off of it a little bit. When you get feedback, it has to do with the room. When people sing, if they're too close to the speakers, you know, and so forth, they're going to get feedback. That stage monitor, people forget all the time, and they'll go like this, and then they go like that. And then all of a sudden you hear this like that, so you've got to make sure you watch that. The fact that those speakers are up higher helps with the feedback.
Right.
Because you're
at a level above everybody.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then when you
how high are the stands when they're on? Are they about that high? Or?
The stands, you could put those speakers up where the bottom of the speaker will be right here.
Okay, all right.
So it's basically about 6 foot high.
Okay, great.
Which is pretty standard.
Right.
Now, with the mixer, of course we have this. This is plugged into the back. And this just, this changes. You could put this in a mode where it slowly changes colors.
Oh, cool.
But I put it on here so that we could actually see it for now.
Right, yeah.
And then, like I mentioned earlier, you have your dual wireless mics already set up.
Okay.
And then this is a corded mic, so you'll have another corded mic that you could set up. This is where your powered stage monitor is. This would have been a little more difficult. Well,
Gotcha.
I could do this. And that's actually better. Maybe having it just like that. Because this is a balanced signal.
Okay.
But you run it like that, you'll know that that goes to your stage monitor. You don't have any other cables like it, so you're good to go.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the way this is hooked up, you have your main left and out, which goes out of this, and then it goes into your inputs of the EQ, then back out of your EQ, into the processor, then back out of the processor, and that's when it starts to lead out to your speakers.
Okay.
Now, the mixer itself, the laptop's on this channel, and you'll notice that it's pushed down to B, because you could essentially, let's say you have 4 CD players, which you probably never will have.
Right.
But let's say you did have 4 CD players. You could have 2 RCAs here going to another CD player, this one going to the laptop. You could get 2 1/4-inch adapters that go down to RCA, so you're able to switch back and forth.
Gotcha.
And
More
then,
flexibility there.
yeah, of course you're running it like this, and then you have your effects, which I already have that set. This is the amount of effects that you put in. And then below it, you have your headphone, of course, that you can monitor a headphone, and the headphone jack is right here.
Okay.
You have your monitor send. This is your main volume.
Okay.
Which, you put it right here, you're fine. You could tinker with it.
Yeah.
You know, and so forth. And this is the main, how much effects is being pushed actually through the mixer. And then you have your mains right here. When we test this in here and just play ambient music, just low, we're lucky if we bring it up here.
Okay.
And then this just literally comes up that much.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yep.
But you notice if we bring this up, I mean, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
You can hear a little bit of the music because we have it maxed out. As far as each station, you have your main volume, like I said. You could bring it up to 0. And most often, I mean, you really don't want to play the music because when you do have it pretty high, it's going to bleed through sooner or later.
Okay.
Normally you want it there when you're doing DJ and club stuff.
Right.
But like when I do karaoke, I put it down to like -12.
Just in each space. You'll get used to it and just tinker with it and so forth. Now, this is your main volume on your mixer. Then these are your secondary volumes. This is basically your gain.
Yep.
We basically have it zeroed out right here because the mics are so sensitive. This is down lower.
Yep.
But depending on where you are, you may want to increase it a little bit.
Right.
Now there is one thing that you can do. You take a microphone. Go ahead and grab one of those mics over there. When you use your mics, you hold the power button down until it comes up. Check, check, 1, 2. And you'll automatically notice which channel it's on because it's going to receive the signal.
Easy enough.
But let's do this. If I remember correctly.
You have to climb down and turn up the gain.
Check, 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 check. Now watch this. Check, 1, 2, check, 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 check. See how the red's coming in?
Yep.
Check, 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 check. So I could potentially bring this microphone. Check, 1, 2, check, check, check. Check, 1, 2.
Right there.
I could potentially bring it right there. And that's one way of checking it. You could even do that with the music channel as well.
Sweet.
And then when you're not using the microphone, you hold it in.
Okay.
One of the things I will tell you, I do think the new batches, they changed. But just in case, these, if for some reason you're using this,
I use the exact same batteries.
and when you put the batteries in, and then it doesn't want to power up, in this case it does, so chances are they fixed it. Sometimes the leads, there's some sort of gap there.
Gotcha.
So there's been times where I've had to use a very specific battery. I think it was a Rayvac.
Oh, really?
Which I was stunned. And I went through 10. I'm like,
wow,
something's wrong with this thing. But even when you mess with the batteries, if you mess with them a few times, once you got it on and this is already clamped in, you won't have a problem with it.
All right.
But I'm almost positive you're not going to have the issue.
Right, and these mics are pretty durable?
Well, you don't want to drop them, of course.
Right.
I mean, as far as... I've sold a lot of these mics. People that don't drop them, I probably have, let's say out of 1,000 units sold, I want to say I've dealt with maybe 4 or 5 people that I've had issues with. One guy had issues with the mics twice.
Because my only concern, I was worried about with the kids using them. Maybe I should use the wired microphones for the kids when they're doing it.
Yeah, in fact, I should probably hook you up with a few really cheap mics.
Yeah.
So that way, even if they drop them, it doesn't matter.
I gotta purchase more. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and even then,
because I'd more want to save these for like what I'm using. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I'm doing adults or whatever.
Okay, go ahead and grab that. Now, you notice these because we're not using these channels. You don't have to do it right now, but I put the gains down. And most often what will happen is, if I don't think I'm using these, I'll literally zero them all out.
Okay.
So that I don't have to worry about any chance of even the slightest noise from that channel ever bleeding through.
Okay.
Even though it's not active and so forth. You look at this, like I said, you have your mics, and this is just a different way of plugging up the mics.
Right.
This is the best way to do it, of course. It's grounded. And let's say I had a 1/4 inch. This is how much better the XLR is.
Right.
I would actually have to put if this is 1/4 inch, I would have to bring that volume up to this to get the same level of volume on an XLR. So that gives you an idea of the difference. And then of course you have your inserts for someone wants to bring in, hook up a guitar, stuff like that, and jam on it, acoustics and so forth. You have, when you're looking at these, you have your balance, which I never mess with. The only reason why you'd ever mess with balance is if, let's say you decide to put one speaker in one room, one in another, and you're literally just going back and forth and squashing one and having the other one. That's what I would use that for. Or if I had 2 sets of speakers and a couple amplifiers and stuff and I wanted to zone back and forth. Above this is your effects. Of course, the music effects, I would have that all the way down except for my microphones for the most part. Then your monitor. This is something you're going to have to get used to. No matter how many times I'm around this, I even have to think about it where I forgot I should move this, because you basically have 2 separate amplifiers. You have your mains, that come in. If you had that all the way down, I think we turned off the monitor. We never turned the monitor back on.
No.
But what's his name? Jake. Flip the switch on that monitor, the stage monitor on the floor, to the right. There you go, you're learning already. You're going to be the next DJ?
He's my mini-me, yeah. He's going to be helping me.
It'll take about 10 seconds for it to filter through.
Okay.
Actually, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. And then it will turn green. So you're always going to have a difference in the monitor. Show them the main. Going separate, and then you start bringing on the mains.
Gotcha.
I mean, the main, you see how sensitive that is?
Yeah.
In a really loud club, I could understand having that But if you really want a smooth transition because you're just hanging out and you're really not doing much, I mean, you could go low, and I mean, even then, it's still.
Yeah, you're barely moving it.
But I'm also starving it. So it's no different than the concept of a hose. You crimp a hose, you're applying more force to try to get through a smaller area. So you do the same thing with mixers. You open it wide open. I mean, I love this. I love this system for how compact it is. Okay, then above it, of course, you have your lows, mids, highs. I'm not sure why they have this like this, but when you're DJing, I would personally kill the lows as much as I can, because this is the only thing this is EQing is the mains. Your subwoofer is working independently,
right?
And bass always exerts more energy. So I would turn up the highs, the mids, turn that down. And then if I turn the bass all the way down on this, just to... See how it's... You really don't have a lot of bass. But the less stress you put on your mains helps out.
The reason why it goes up, because I do a lot of karaoke in here, and the karaoke floor mount, the music is very low compared to like DJ music, or on a laptop, whatever. So I have to turn those up to get a better sound on the karaoke. That's why those were up.
It's pretty. I mean, you'll keep messing with it.
Can't wait.
I hardly ever use any of this stuff, so it's more about reading on it. And the one cool thing is PV. They're in Mississippi. Those guys are pretty cool.
For tech support and everything.
They're kind of like me.
Oh, okay.
They'll
talk to you on the phone.
They'll sit on the phone with you for an hour and a half, and all you ask is one question.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're going to get all of them like that, but I've been pretty lucky.
Right.
You know, they pick up the phone. They're definitely from Mississippi. They got southern accent and everything.
Good old boys then.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, like I said, it's pretty straightforward.
I'm impressed. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually, right before you walked in, I was saying, man, I'm going to be sad to see this go.
You have to build another one now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's
right.
pretty much it. And then, of course, when you get your laptop, you know, set that up, buy that software, you're going to be able to run that karaoke and so forth using the karaoke cloud and so forth. Yeah.